What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Respect and Pray Show. I am your host, the one and only Miguel Mike Medina, Triple M. On this episode, I have an artist who is doing so much. I've met her when we did a play called Othello back in 2015, and I've seen the growth of this person. She's doing so many things. She's a jack of all trades. That's the best way I could put it. She's an actor, director, singer, producer, podcaster, educator, and translator. She was featured in the Deadline article for being a winner of the fourth annual Ya Tu Sabes Monologue Slam. She beat out thousands of submissions. And I just had to interview her because everything that she's doing is so impressive. And she's also a terrific human being as well. I enjoyed working with her when we did Othello. So if you don't know much about her, you're going to know more about her on this interview. So stay tuned because it's a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to present to you a person with jack of all trades, Maria Fernanda Diez. Maria, thank you so much for joining me on this interview. How
Well,
are you?
I'm good. I'm actually really good right now. So I'm grateful to be here and thanks for having me.
Yes, for sure, for sure. So I got to start from the top. When did you fall in love with the arts?
Oh man. Oh, I have fallen in love over and over again, honestly. But I think like really the first time was like as a kid at the age of like 10, I saw my first show. And it was Pippi Longstockings. And it was so cool though. There was like a boat on stage and there was like fog and it was just so beautiful to me to see like the lights, the acting, all of it coming together and to feel like this collective too. Like we were all like, whoa. And I think that like my mom says like we saw that show and I turned to her and I was like, how do I do that? Like, where do I do that? And I think like honestly too, I fell in love with the arts in like the day-to-day like storytelling. Like how I would retell my day was literally recreating the characters of my day, like my bully or like my best friend and these adventures. And as a kid I would always tell stories. Like we were on a road trip and like there's stories about tornadoes who are friendly and like this old man who has an orange cat. So for me, it was always embedded, and I was always journaling. I was always writing poetry. I was always writing and drawing. And so I think it just kind of naturally progressed into becoming a performing artist.
That's awesome. You attended Columbia University, and
Yeah.
Columbia University is a behemoth. How was that like? Were you in the theater program there? How was the whole experience?
Yeah. It was a complex experience. Like I don't come from incredible like high schools or anything like that. Like I was like a public school kid, a charter school kid. So being at Columbia was like a level of rigor and intensity where you're like, oh shit. Like, and you kind of, I felt like I got jostled because there's incredible people all around you. There's smart as a whip, or there's like really well off people who have a lot of resources. So it was a huge surprise and like a major learning like curve. Um, I went to the theater program there. It's super academic. Like you're only allowed one acting class a semester kind of thing, which is like as an artist and as someone who was already working, like I worked starting around the age of 10. I started performing with the Minnesota Opera and then with like theater companies in the Twin Cities in the Midwest. So like by the time I got to Columbia, I was like, wait, no, but I want to be like doing the thing. So I learned a lot of like history and I learned a lot of theory and like had to write a lot about the arts, which I think was actually super helpful now as an adult, like to understand how each of those things, like, or each style came to be or the history behind it. But like yeah, it was a really intense experience. And I think one of my favorite classes, though, that contributed to becoming more of a jack of all trades was this class called collaboration, where we had to do everything. Like we were at one point, like you rotated positions. So you were a director one week, you were a designer the next week, and that was set design, costume design, sound design, and then like hiring actors and then being actors. And you had a week from when you were given the play, the concept, and you chose a scene, and as a team had to create the bones of what you would do. So it like taught me to work really fast and to be like, yeah, let's try it. And like, if it doesn't work, we scrap it. And to be really creative and inventive and to get out of your own way, as an artist, to just like be like, let's draft. And so it was a really intense class, but I think that one definitely helped me as a creator now in the world.
What's the most challenging role you've done so far in your career?
Um, I feel like it depends. I'm thinking about it because I think they each can present challenges, or it depends on what kind of challenge for me. Like sometimes it's either like Shakespeare, and not like my first Shakespeare play was definitely a challenge because I was like, well, here we go. We're gonna learn by doing and memorize by doing. So Shakespeare can be tough in that way because it's so present, it's ever present. It's not a lot of like subtext, it's a lot of like, this is the active thought now, and how do you fill that truthfully. I think like one character that I would love to go back to, because I think I got to perform and be her when I was younger, that I feel like now with a little bit more time understand her in a new way, is Nina from The Seagull. Like epic role. Like definitely loved doing it. But I think now as an adult, that second half when she comes back heartbroken and like completely like distraught and distressed, I think I understand that in a completely new way, which is cool.
Favorite food?
Mole.
Favorite late night snack?
Mud buddies.
Favorite play?
Favorite play?
Yeah.
Oh damn. Motherfucker with a hat off the top of my head. No, Sanctuary City. Ha! But also both. Shit.
Okay. Hey, more than one is good.
Yeah.
Favorite place that you would like to travel to?
I really want to go to South Korea right now.
Nice. I'm gonna put you on the spot with this one. Theater or film?
Right now, film. Right now. But both have such loves. It depends on what and who. Because I think part of what makes theater and film are your collaborators. And the story. So I'm like attracted to story. So I'm like, if this is a good story and then the collaborators are incredible, I'm so down. And then as an experience, it just depends on where you go. Because I feel like I love vocal movie theaters because it feels like theater to me. So I'm like, both of those are great.
Last but not least, having a lead role or being a podcaster?
Oh, I feel like lead role right now. But I honestly love podcasting. I've realized I love that. So, but lead role.
That lead that leads me to the following. Tell me about your podcast, When You're Invisible.
Yeah, so my podcast When You're Invisible is my what I call my love letter to the working class and people who have been othered in society, and like people who go unseen but often make the world run. And I've had this idea for a long time. It's been with me. Part of it is because of my own community, like being Mexicana, being Latina, and also like growing up where we started off with like very little, and then we got to I watched my parents work their way up socioeconomically, and then like also as an artist, I've worked a lot of different jobs. Like I've worked as a receptionist, reservationist, like waiter, and so many, like the list is endless, nanny, tutor, like anything that I've possibly been able to do, I've done it. And I think like I've realized like how people get treated in those spaces. And I was very much raised that like everybody in community, no matter what position you are in, matters. And so you like treat everyone with like love and respect and care and honesty. And so like when I started kind of like realizing that that wasn't always the case, that like not everybody did that, and I know like that was very early on, but like it was also just like it was still like so like frustrating to me. And also because some of my greatest mentors, some of my best friends, right, like some of the people who I love the most or who have taken care of me or who have seen me have been everyday people. Like, and I think like to me, one of the hardest things as an artist and a working artist is not all of us get success, no matter how incredible we are. Not all of us get that commercial success or get to be that 1% where they're like, oh yeah, are you in anything I would know? Right? Like, so to me, I was like, how do I think about my day to day? And how do I think about my individual value? And I think to me, the people who have always been better at that have been people who are either on the fringe and overlooked or working people, because they've like you're required to find value in your life versus like a traditional career driven person. And so to me, I was like, there's so many times that people have like saved me that I'm like, dude, I want people to know these people or to like consider the thoughts of like, yeah, the people who don't get asked, like, what inspires you? What are you interested in right now? Or the people who think like it's not possible for me, like, and why that is the way it is, or like what is possible then in the world. And I think it's like connection, respect, and like curiosity and growth as a team and as like literally humans on this planet together that I think I value a lot. And for me, it was important to highlight people who make the like literal world run. Like if all working people decided not to show up, like you don't get your coffee, you don't get your bagel, the place is dirty, and like who are often like doing the most work too. Like I think one of the things that bother me, there's a couple things that bother me, and I'm like, this is long-winded rant. But like one thing that bothers me is this belief that we do it on our own. I don't think we ever succeed alone. Like I think like you do a lot of work, right, and you have to have your own tenacity, but it is thanks to the people around you, thanks to the people who literally help make that day a little easier, that you are able to succeed. It is thanks to like the people who are successful, who have nannies and assistants. I'm like, you get to do the thing you do because you have other people doing the things that you don't have time for or are choosing not to prioritize. And that's totally fine, human nature, right? Everybody's different. But that for me was like huge. And also this idea that like, I remember like you meet people are in Ivy League institutions where it's like some of them are amazing people who are studying there. And some people are like, I deserve to be here more than anyone else. And you're like, no, you don't. You just were born into the right set of circumstances where you were given the resources, where you were given the money, you were given the parents, you were given the inspiration, whatever it is that allowed you to get there. But like someone who's there working 15 hours a day is not less deserving of brilliance or not, or whatever it is. Nobody is worth more or less on like an innate level to me. And so to me, I was like, I want to celebrate the people who don't get celebrated, who I think deserve to be celebrated and talked to. And honestly, it's like, yeah, it was the workers at Columbia University who made sure I didn't drop out of school when I felt overwhelmed, were the people who let me show up as I was. And so I think, like, to me, that legacy is so important to hold on to.
And that's great. Great thing you just mentioned there, especially about celebrating people that don't get celebrated. And that's the biggest motivation why I started this platform, this show, to give
Yeah.
people their respect, their flowers, because there's people that I know that I see them putting in work, but they're not getting interviewed. They're not getting being put on these podcasts or these platforms. So I'm one of those people. I don't like complaining. I just go and do it. I'm gonna go and create opportunities. I'm gonna go and give this person an interview. Because the people might not know this person. So after
Yeah.
this interview, they might want to know more about this person. So I'm with you on that one, and that was my biggest motivation why I'm doing this. So my last question for you is, for the viewers that'll be watching this, for listeners, where can they follow you and your work?
So I am mostly on Instagram out of all the social medias. So my Instagram is my nickname in Spanish. So it's Marifer. So Marifer _ my last name, which is Diez, Diez, and then _B, a small little homage to my mom's last name, which would be Buso. If I was raised in Mexico, I would have that full name. And then the podcast's Instagram, which you can always find me through, is When You're Invisible Podcast. And then I also have my actor's website, which I have to update. That's my New Year's resolution. But it's mariafernandadiez.com. And those are all great ways to reach me. Yeah. And follow what I'm doing, or feel free to reach out. I always love talking to other artists and other people. So I try my best to answer every DM as well.
Well, there you guys have it. I'm gonna put that information on the description. Maria, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview with me. Much respect and praise on everything you're doing. And I can't forget, congratulations on being featured on the Deadline article.
Oh yeah, thank you.
I can't forget about that one. That was a grand slam. I said, oh man,
right? I was like, it's my first Deadline article, so it was like really cool for me. Yeah, and I'm honored. And Ya Tu Sabes, Nosotros, NBC are awesome for supporting that program and supporting me so that I could have that feature. So thank you. But yeah.
Keep going, Maria. Keep going. I've known you since we did Othello back in 2015, and it's so great to see you grow and keep thriving in this insane business. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Right back at you.
Well, that does it for this episode of the Respect and Pray Show. Hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. All right? Don't forget to hit subscribe. And you guys know what my motto is: have mutual respect, mutual love, and mutual admiration. So stay tuned for the next episode.